cheaper and I could get 10 cents a gallon off. And Cindy told me, because Cindy manages the plant, she told me that one time it was $4.29, so I stopped and filled up. Then it went to $4.33 a couple of days later, but now it's $4.29 because I filled up last night on the way back from the line.
It's part of the news.
We got.
How's your leg?
Drops a little bit.
Back up. No, he was talking about the lawsuit that they're going to do on real life. Well, it's drawn out.
$50 good. I was just thinking about that. Oh, yeah. I bought a 5.9.
It's great for them because it matches.
Yeah.
Because I was
So they want
plot
that.
and that's the same stuff. Well, everybody shares that.
Because that's what I have is a 5.
So are they working tonight?
But of course, last time, see, it worked with him.
It worked here, it didn't work on the TV.
He said yes, they were working, so I would assume they are.
Actually,
I haven't asked about
they're on
I have checked the audio on Facebook.
What was wrong with it?
New clock.
Well,
Digital
a couple of
disc,
weeks.
actually, no, it
I did get a different one from when we had that one.
setting
that kept
number
going
one,
late.
and it should be not
Yeah,
setting
yeah.
number two. Basically, the logistics.
Seconds on it.
Oh,
So you don't know when it's.
At least we got it
Is that
going.
from a power loss or what is it?
That's the only guess I got because
Or would
our
there-
UPS didn't start back up.
Or would have been a power surge when the generator kicked on?
it could have been, because that kicked off and on like several times.
The generator?
Probably.
Well, if your power was
Probably
fluctuating,
first,
that
'cause they're
generator's
first,
designed to kick on.
I don't know how many.
And the battery backup didn't come back on?
No.
Do you need a new battery backup?
Because that's brand new, and it's a nice one. So, no, it's just, that's stuff to look into.
Okay. All right. Call this meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Call this meeting to order. Roll call.
On the right day. Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings,
Present.
Bikeman,
Present.
Garacki,
Present.
Price,
Here.
Barons,
Here.
Drum,
Here.
8-0.
Okay. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on June 13th.
Move to approve regular minutes of June 13th, 2022 minutes as written.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No?
Okay. We don't have any minutes for the special one.
I got them done, but not by the time you guys.
Got our packet.
Not
That
by
would- that's true.
Wednesday
That'd be the
night.
next
We just
day.
had the
After the
meeting.
fact.
After the fact, yes.
You'll get them next time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Next up, we have 5-minute public comment. Anybody here for public comment? Okay. Move on to business discussion items. First up, we have extending fireworks hours on the weekend.
We just thought we'd bring this to your attention. Nobody's asked for this per se.
Police chief kind of did.
Well,
Chief of Police recommend talking about it. 4th of July is on a Monday. Every time that happens, like this, it happens on a weekend, the council usually either regrets not talking about it or some other feeling. So we thought we'd be a little bit ahead of it. Well, not a little bit,
Was
but a tiny
Officer,
bit.
was Officer Simpson's, Chief Simpson's, his recommendation to extend it then?
I mean,
Ask.
it was just recommended to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. I make a motion that we extend the fireworks hours to midnight on July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Second.
I was gonna second for you.
Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm not giving them Monday.
Yeah, Monday it already is.
go to
work
It's an
Tuesday
ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay,
No good work Tuesday.
okay. Got to have a motion second. Any further discussion?
You know, the thing of it is, when you set a time like that, they always stretch it out a little
Oh, yeah.
past it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Matt said, he said they're gonna do it, so it'd be easier for us if you guys would extend it.
Yep.
True.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
What do you mean,
Nope.
extended?
Extend it to midnight.
So what we did? Okay,
Instead of-
all right.
Yeah.
Instead of 10.
Sounds good.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
7-1. Okay.
Next up, we have the fireworks discharge waiver for the wedding.
move to approve the fireworks discharge waiver.
Second.
Second.
We know you know what you're doing.
You come up, Doc.
Thanks for coming, though.
We appreciate it. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0.
Thanks, Sterling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sterling.
Next up, we have the Old Fashioned Water Park, water fund at the city park. Hello?
Fire department would like to do a water slide on the backside of the pool house on the slope there. We'll use the fire hydrant, and this will be the water supply. We'll put a hose to that. There'll be 2 of them, and we thought that'd be a good thing for the kids.
So, basically, yeah, oh yeah, dates, but, so basically you're looking at a water park set up, and
Right.
would you use it as a fundraiser, maybe?
We can if you want. I mean, I don't know how much money you're gonna make on that. I mean, how many
An
parents?
I will donation?
Yeah, we can do that.
Free will, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So when are you planning on doing this?
well, haven't got anything set. We was coming to you guys first and then,
Okay. That's what I was looking on this for.
I assume since it's in the city park, it's kind of the same liability.
If you fall, because just like you fall on
Just-
playground equipment, it's your
exactly, yeah.
own liability.
Okay.
do you have a picture? Did Sarah send you one?
She did to my email, but I didn't print it.
Okay.
It just showed, well, yeah, it's absolutely just
Oh,
this.
that is-
Hers just had, water spraying, what it would spray, but
What
there's,
it would
that's all.
be
It
like.
just showed water spraying. There is a shelter right by there, so people can sit in the shelter and watch their kids.
The
Because it does ask for
scenario
adults.
in the aerials, you can't ask for a better spot. Because you got the slope, you got the picnic tables, you got the storm drain in the grass already. The fire hydrant's right there. We're looking at just taking supplies from the station. We're not actually taking anything off the truck. We'll have 2 trucks probably there in case we get a call. We can shut it down and leave with the trucks. We have 5 or 6 of these. I know I've seen 5 already.
Of those,
Yes. We will anchor them to the ground with rods, and then we would put a cone on top of that to protect, making sure everybody knows where they're at. We also have a smaller model like this we can use east of where we were spraying today. They can just run through an upright curtain.
Right, that, I think.
We also have, Don and I both have one, a little plastic fire hydrants that you hook up to a garden hose. There is a garden hydrant just south of there of that picnic shelter. So we're looking at 1 or 2 garden hoses for the 0 to 5-year-olds to, if the parents are sitting in that shelter, they can watch something like that. The trash bins right there by the pool. The only restroom facility will be the city park block building. Also with the hydrant, we could have a hose there for washing off, you know, 'cause it might get a little muddy, people might get a little muddy. But what a perfect scenario, you know. A couple times a week, you know. I'm shooting for July 4th, you know. That'll be next Monday. I already have a sponsor to buy the tarps and the plastic to use. In
Will
the
you
next
come
couple,
back?
what's that?
Will you come back with more dates, or is July 4th the only date? So I
Well, we have to have a meeting to see
Oh, okay.
who's
Yeah,
available to help, because it's gonna take 4 of us to
Okay.
set it up and watch. I do in my notes mention about the lifeguard, if they could. Why I brought that up was some of these kids went and got certified and spent money out of their pocket, and now they have no job with the city.
We paid for their certification.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so they-
yeah, but they still don't have the job. So, under any circumstances, any kid shows up really needs to have their own guardian parent, because I'm not gonna be babysitting, you know. Basically, it's kinda cute. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and you're gonna get wet, and you're gonna, yeah. Sarah saw it today, she actually took a picture of it, what we did, that way we could get it in the paper this week if you guys approve it, that way we can shoot from July 4th. I think we'll have a meeting tomorrow night, just figure out if we can pull this off, you know, and then we can schedule something for the following week. I don't know how the pool's progressing, but you know, a couple times a week, you know, in the evenings, that'd be kinda cool.
Something for them to do.
Yeah, 'cause ball is winding down this
Yeah.
weekend, if not next weekend, so the rest of summer, the kids are gonna be on vacation or trying to find something to do. So,
Move to approve the request from Marysville Fire Department for the old-fashioned water fund at the city park.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I don't think we need to make it a money-raising thing, since it could relieve some of the stress since the pool ain't open to begin with.
Well, I mean, if you just make it free will, and,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
if they raise a
yeah.
little bit of money for the fire department, then,
I never
don't know how
even,
I don't know how they're gonna perceive that, you know, it's just, I mean,
They don't have to give anything.
no,
no, I know, but
this is just good
know,
PR
okay.
for yourself and us, you know.
or
That's
discussion, I
basically what
kind of
was
agree
looking
with Keith. That,
I mean, it's, kids wanna play in the water, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Thinking about
I wouldn't
that.
expect parents to have a free will, I mean, give whatever, but since the pool is not open.
The only thing I have is talk to Don, see if we can get it mowed before they have it. And then keep him in the loop so that it's not super muddy when he's mowing.
Yeah.
There's no reason to tear it up anymore unless it's gonna be tore up. Cause it just costs money in the long run to fix it.
well, does somebody want to amend their motion? Just to, say not be, well, I mean, that's what I'm asking is.
That wasn't part of the motion.
That
That wasn't part of
it was just to allow
Just
it.
to allow it.
Okay.
I didn't say nothing about charging or not
Well,
charging. Just allow
I guess
it.
that's what I'm asking, is they want to amend it and,
No, I don't think so. I think they know the directive.
I think that's fine, just
Yeah.
how it's laid out.
okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
One thing I want to ask the council tonight, do you have any suggestions or solutions? If we have a church or a group or a club that wants to incorporate like an ice cream social or a lemonade stand with it?
I think that's your guys',
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about it?
that's
How
your
about
thing.
it? That's on you.
Because I have talked to a few people and, so far they're kind of busy getting ready for the fair, so.
Yep, I think,
Old-fashioned water park by the fire.
Yeah.
Sure.
Pretty simple. Yeah,
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You.
Appreciate it.
maybe some homemade ice cream.
Come on, Dave.
Next up, we have the black squirrel statue placements.
Hello, I am here to present to you the black squirrels on parade, the statues that are on public property and their placements. There is one correction on here. After Toby Carrig left, that was kind of a little bit up in the air, and so Austin and I went and looked at his suggested placement, and Austin and I kind of came up with a different one. And then Bill Philippi and John Unger, who were on the Pony Express board, didn't really like that placement, and so they worked with Austin to have another one. I do not know what it is, so he's going to have to fill you in on that. But the rest of them, we walked through them all, so I didn't see any other problems.
I'll just to get that one out of the way, page 22. Pony Express barn wants one near the Pony Express statue. Where the blue dot is, was where Toby thought, he just generally put a dot. Where Bill Philippi and I discussed was up near the limestone wall where the top of the U.
Oh, where the curve is up there?
That curve, right in there, is where we were looking at. That way,
Okay.
you can fashion it to where you don't have to mow, mower can get right by it, and you create a pad, and the least amount of maintenance around it, and what they wanted was a great spot to take a picture. Because otherwise, up where that dot is, and even where we had discussed previously, which was the black X near the sidewalk, they didn't feel that was very picturesque with that wall and just
The flowers and
right up
everything.
front. Yeah. So back in that depression area of that wall is where we were looking at.
I also sent the MOUs that Cindy sent to me last week to these people, and I haven't gotten all of them back yet, but I will be prompting them again, because I did send that last week, so I'll prompt them again and make sure that they get forwarded to you all, so that way we're just all on the same page.
The only one I have a question about is the Kester House one.
We actually walked a couple different places, because Sharon wasn't exactly sure where she wanted it.
Photo of that one, so I don't.
There is no photo of that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Well,
Yeah.
I intended
Is
upon.
that the one, is that the
Where
gate
the-
that's on Broadway?
No, it's on.
No,
No,
10th
it's on
Street.
77.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
there's that kind of curved, right now it's a berm, where
Right.
you bring a carriage in to get it through the wall, there's the double gate.
It's just south of the dog statues, so the lion statues are on Broadway, and it's just south of the pair of dog
So
statues.
it'll kind of set back in that double
Right.
gate area?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
there's
kind
10
of in the
feet
middle.
grass.
Yeah.
Right, and we had discussed if because there's plenty of other places for mowers to come in which was one of the things that Sharon was very aware of. But Austin had just mentioned bigger equipment, so something would happen on the museum that would need to be fixed, and so we kind of worked it out that it's going to be an inset limestone block that, if needed, the Squirrel could be moved and the big equipment could go over it. So even though it's not like a perfect spot for mowers, or, it will take a little bit of doing, at least it's movable and still workable for the city equipment.
And Sharon had discussed, because she believed that entryway was actually originally brick. And there might be still brick underneath of it. Returning it to that to get less maintenance as far as the grass goes.
I didn't have a picture of it, that's
Okay.
why. That was the biggest
Sorry about that,
thing.
that was
No,
not in
and
my
that's the reason
intention.
I asked is,
Yeah, you bet.
I can pull this.
And that was the only one I had heard any concerns from really anyone about, in that they didn't know that it was aesthetically pleasing to put it there. I've heard arguments kind of for and against it. I walked around there with Sharon a little bit when we were discussing that trash can placement, and that's why I knew where the spot was, but
Right.
it is good visibility to the highway.
It is, and it is set away from the planted area with all the statues, and it's set enough away from it that I think it'll complement it. The Squirrel itself will have some statues painted on it. It'll be a lot like the one that's there on the north in that brick walkway. It's Arlene Hayner that is the artist is Arlene Hayner. And so it's very classic looking, as much a classic looking as a 5-foot black squirrel can be. So, although I tend to agree that maybe in the garden, I don't think works, but this is enough set complementing, like that was just
And it's off the sidewalk, so it's out of the
Correct.
way of people.
Correct. Yes, particularly because it's squishy there, so.
Mowers are the only thing that go in through that gate?
Actually, mowers don't go in through that gate right now.
Okay.
The maintenance guys have when they put that patio in, it created another 0 entry
Oh,
access.
that's right, okay.
So that actually works out better for them.
yeah, I'm fine with that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my only concern with some of them is like on the sidewalks. I mean, we've got trees and we've got light poles and we've got squirrels now in some places, and at what point have you got so much stuff on the sidewalk that you?
Well, this is the last round of squirrels, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
This will be the last round. If we decide to do more, it would be removing these and starting afresh is what the Convention and Tourism Group had kind of made clear. They were not even sure necessarily that we should go up to 50. A few of them, I think, kind of thought that things were getting oversaturated, but we thought with the 50th year, it would still complement okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic to what you're saying, but by the same token, you go to a lot of cities and they've got a lot more than we do going on because they have outdoor seating and they have,
I know,
you know,
but
sandwich
that's what
board
I'm saying.
signs.
Just
And
ADA is the only.
We've talked about that in like even bike
Racks,
parking
yeah.
places, and didn't want to obstruct the sidewalk.
Right.
And so that's my only concern. I mean, the ones that are on people's properties, I think are fine, and a lot of them are in places on off the sidewalk, and it's fine. But
Yeah, probably the two that will be the most worrisome for that are Empty Cup and Blue River Eye Care. Blue River Eye Care makes like 3 kind of really close in a row, which is why I suggested to Tammy to go, at the Empty Cup, to go around the corner. And they actually preferred that placement, so that way it wasn't 4, bam, 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 bam.
yeah,
So I am understanding of what you're talking about, but I think the business owners are pretty aware of that as well, because it's an attraction and there's a lot of them. I mean, so they understand
Yeah.
trying to work with the city.
okay. Well, I guess I have a motion.
Move to approve black squirrels on request to place on city property.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
You will bring the MOUs in.
Yes, I will. I will make sure that they get to Cindy. Like I said, I will prompt
Okay.
again. One of them was sent to me, but
Can
that
I
was,
ask a question? Are the
You bet.
MOUs gonna go to everyone or just the ones on city property?
just the ones on city property. I mean, it doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
for
yeah,
anybody
okay.
else
I just
to-
was curious, just
Yeah.
if we would know where the rest of them would be placed then.
Oh, sure.
Because,
Well,
see,
I
we
can-
won't
I
know
can-
where the rest of them will be placed if we
Sure.
don't get that.
And I can do that. I mean, my intention was as well to kind of put out a big maps with
Oh,
the
okay.
X, but I just, to be honest with you, I just haven't had time to do that. The only other MOU that's, and it was attached to this, is the one that was placed on somebody else's property. Well, not, it's not MOU, it's a letter, but that's the only other one that I think that you all should have any concern about. Again, not hiding it, I'm happy to give you placements, but I just didn't get around to that.
Okay.
So, but I will make sure that the MOUs get there, yes, thank you, and just get you a map with X's.
That's,
Yep, for sure.
Right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just stay right here.
Okay. Next up, we have the convention tourism request.
So as you know, Toby Carrig left for greener pastures, maybe, hopefully not. Anyway, the Convention and Tourism Committee feel as if it is important to continue the wheels of tourism. Tourism doesn't stop, particularly right now. This is our big time. And so they think that they, being the committee, thought that it was important to have an interim director to at least do a few things to keep the wheels going until we figured out what was going to happen. However, Austin did come up and tell me before the meeting that since I'm a city employee through the library, that might cause issues. Didn't even consider that. Totally understand that. So I'm not asking for approval tonight, I guess, as something gets figured out. But I hope that if we find someone else who's willing to do this, that you will consider this a priority, because I do believe that it's important that we answer emails and Facebook messages and phone calls. We have a tour scheduled at the end of August from people coming from Manhattan to see our squirrels, our big squirrel statues, probably small ones too. I just think it's important that this train does not stop, even though it's not going to go at full speed like when Toby was here. So,
Austin, as far as concerns, is it like capers or chain of command? Where's that concern?
As far as our auditors are concerned with paying a separate, paying somebody else
Even if they're a contract employee?
straight from our auditor.
So
Red
we've
flag
never
to the
had a
IRS
city
and
employee
Department
that
of
we've
Labor.
contracted with separate from that,
unless they
ever.
had a separate business
Yeah,
that
if
they
you got a separate
absolutely
business,
had
yes.
other
How do you
customers.
feel about forming an LLC?
for 3 months, no, I think I'm going to not do
It's a
that.
major,
It's not
yeah,
that
it's a
hard.
major issue. Right away, the auditor was like, no,
Interesting.
red flag, Department of Labor does not like it, IRS does not like it.
I know of a lot of businesses that do it, but I didn't know that would be different, just a wrinkle I didn't know about. I know there's people who are employees of businesses that may be contracted separately to clean or that sort of thing, so.
If they clean other places, that's good, they have their own business to do that.
No, but these are people who don't.
well,
As a matter of
I don't
fact,
know.
I've done this years ago, so, I
So who
mean,
do we talk to?
my auditor didn't say anything.
Well, I don't know, I did call, I wanted to know, I checked with two
Sure.
different auditors, and I checked with one of ours, and she was absolutely adamant.
So as far as it goes, our auditor is not comfortable with this.
So city council people can't do work for the city as well, since we're city employees?
That's different because you're elected.
I do, but
I was gonna say, I know
Because you're
somebody who
elected
does.
and he has a business that he works for other people in that business.
Oh, that's
That's the
fair.
caveat.
Right.
You know.
So I couldn't fix plumbing and charge the city. I got you.
But if you want to do plumbing around town,
I was just curious
I bet
where
we
that
could use
is.
some more.
I never thought about that being an issue, but, okay.
Me neither.
All right, we know.
It certainly needs help.
So, anyway, I don't think that needs anything unless you have any other questions for me, but I appreciate the fact that it looks like you're all kind of on board with this, because I think it's important to continue with that, so, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mandy.
The right person will come along. Please say that louder, Kevin.
They always do.
This is true.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we don't have anything on notices and hearings. Next up is the consent agenda.
There wasn't anything?
Appropriations ordinance number 3775.
Move to approve appropriations ordinance 3775.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snelling,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Gueracke,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron's,
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Next up, we have Austin with the staff reports.
All right, really the only thing I have on my agenda is, this post office block, building historic preservation grant. We received approval for the grant last year, and I've been working with the Historical Society to get this moving forward. Went through a bid process, got bids, and these were the bids I got, these 2 contracts. The Historical Society said I needed to come up with contracts with their wording in them, and that's what you see in here. The grant pays 80% of this project, and it came in under what I expected, and as far as the project going. So with this project, it is replacing the membrane on the roof of the apartment, which is right next to the Kester House Gardens, as well as the roofing material on the bay windows and the deck, the roof on the deck. And then it also encompasses repairing the bay windows, the 3 bay windows that overlook the gardens.
I'm surprised they're still holding in there.
We're this close. There's a few families of birds that live in them.
Yeah.
What about the soffit at the top of the Masonic Lodge? It is looking really, really rough as well.
Right. That's not in this one. It is.
But is that the building we're talking about, the replacing the roof, the
So,
membrane?
no,
That's the
Masonic.
next one.
Right over this.
Okay.
Masonic is 3-story.
So,
The apartment's
this too.
2-story. Yep.
All right, well, I was just wondering how we were gonna fix the membrane and not fix the edge of the roof. But
Right.
So this is the Kester block, right?
Right.
The whole Kester block. Yep.
Well, it threw me because it says post office block building.
That is the National Historic Register name of that 2-story building.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it threw me, and I'm sitting there thinking, that's not the post office building?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
It's not the present one anymore.
Yeah.
it was once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Yes.
Okay.
So that's what this is all about. I just need your approval to move forward with, okay, so 2 contracts. One is with JC Commercial Roofing, which is a state registered roofing company. They're not registered with the city of Marysville as of yet, but they came recommended because the other roofing companies were busy. Eaton Roofing actually brought them to my attention. So JC Commercial Roofing, and his quote, $16,800 to replace all the roofing material. And it lines out that we hold 10% until completion of the project.
They're just strictly doing the roofing.
Just the roof, yeah.
Now,
yes.
where the bay windows have pulled out, are they going to have to repair them before they repair the membrane on the top of them? Or what's gonna happen there?
It'll be working together with,
You know what,
the
you know where
next-
I'm coming
yes,
from.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the next company.
We will, they'll have to work together.
Okay.
Is what it's gonna come down to. So the first one, $16,800. withhold 10%. The second contract is with Daryl Rohr, DBA Rohr the Handyman. He is going to be doing the woodwork on the bay windows as well as replacing any cracked windows that are in those windows. Doing some interior work as well. There's some of the sills are just rotted out with the water and all that stuff. He's doing all that work, scraping, painting, replacing wood. What page was that on? 21,900. We hold 10% until the end. He said he could start work in September, and he said he'd take a couple months to do that work. So I'm just looking for approval to move forward with these contracts.
I move we proceed forward with the historic preservation grant for the post office building on the Custer House block. An amount of 37 something. I didn't get all the figures.
38.7.
38.7.
Or whatever it comes
That's what
up
I was
to.
sitting here looking at yours, cause I had
I had 1,600. I didn't catch what the other amount was.
16,800.
Okay.
Nine.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
It needs to be done, otherwise we're gonna lose the windows and that
Yep.
part of the building.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Why do we gotta let them get this bad before we can repair them?
It took a couple years to even they were.
Because if it takes that long to get to the Masonic building, it's gonna be off of there.
If you can imagine, they looked much better when we started the process of getting this grant. I mean, yes, there was there's one with birds in it. That 1 year took it downhill real quick.
Big time.
So just to get this rolling.
But do we have to go out for a grant like the soffit on the Masonic building? Can't we get somebody to come in with a price and say, hey, it's gonna cost this much? You never know, they may come in fairly cheap on repairing the soffit
And that, we can do that, yeah.
Well, let's ask for a
without
price.
going through the grant process, because if it's only gonna cost us $7,000 to $10,000, do it.
Take care of it.
Okay.
Instead of trying to draw a grant preservation
Did we
deal.
get the insurance company to look at that? Because it did get worse after the windstorm.
Yeah, I think they did look at it,
Okay.
because they were looking at the roof up there as well, on that one side where.
We might have insurance money coming.
I don't know what they'll say. I haven't got any of that stuff back from insurance. We took them all over.
Yeah,
We're trying every avenue
yeah.
Yeah.
to get it taken care of. Okay. Any other questions? The second one is a reminder of the budget workshop. I gave this to you, and this is not a rampant up to discussion tonight, so don't take it as that. I gave you our budget book, the numbers. This includes the projects and the equipment that we talked about at the last council meeting, or at the last budget workshop. I was fairly pleased that I could work in everything we talked about. So take a look at that. If you have any questions, I know there's new people on the council that don't 100% know that, and that's no judgment. I'm free for any time, any questions. I'm happy to talk about it.
Well, we should have had pretty good money the way the valuation stacked up
Right.
this year.
Right.
I mean, it was extreme.
Right. But we will talk about that on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Any other questions for me?
Sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have the standing committee reports. Anybody have anything on the street?
So, are they done with the new streetlights install?
Are they done with the streetlight install completely?
They're timed perfect.
Yes.
Oh, I'm loving them.
Yeah, they
Nice.
really have
Have they
been
got
good.
rid of the cone on the south side yet at 10th Street? I haven't been out today.
I haven't seen the cone.
There's a cone setting about 10 foot out from the curb on the southwest corner. And the semis are really having to stretch out across the other lane last night to get
Over
south.
by the, we'll look at it.
Huh? You can't miss it, it was sticking out there quite a ways.
There's two codes there. What are these codes?
Yeah, but the one on the southwest corner, the trucks were having troubles getting around it last night.
Well, I think,
They're still there.
are they still? I know they had some cones on
Guess
when they
they
were
just-
pulling wire, because they had
Someone
boxes
pulled
open,
back
they were
out
pulling
of the way.
wires.
I saw a bunch of them on the back of Toad's truck today, so that's why I wondered if they were counties, and they pulled them.
So, well, a couple of the overhead fixtures are canted kinda weird. I
Still.
assume that happened during the windstorm, but I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah, on 10th.
Well, and 10th was the
And the
windstorm.
120th is also
Okay.
canted.
The one at 10th still tipped quite a
Yeah.
bit. They didn't square it back
And
up.
it could've been nice to fix the shade on that fixture on the southwest pole as well, that's been missing
the
for a
red
while.
one?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
it's
missing,
missing
it's like,
too.
that would've been a great time to
You would've
get that
thought they put
fixed.
all new lights in, they would've put a new cover over it.
Did they think we don't
they
like
didn't
covers?
replace the LED, because those were already LEDs on the lights, the
They could've
signal
put a
lights.
shield over it.
Yeah.
Even if we gotta put one on, let's get one ordered and have them put
Yeah,
it
just-
on. It can't be that
And
much.
that's on the 10th Street one?
Yeah, the
Southwest corner.
West corner of the 10th Street.
It may have been one of them that they didn't know it was gone.
Right.
And they might not have had one here, because they went to Manhattan first and came from Manhattan to here to get ours in.
I'm just glad they got it done so
Yeah.
quick.
No, agreed.
And they are nice.
They are. I like when you pull up the turning lane, the arrow turns, green and arrow both go, and this one still uses red. It's pretty nice.
So do we have some flexibility with like programming options on those? The reason I ask is I've noticed that when they were setting them up, the crosswalk lights worked differently than they work now. They had the timers.
Yeah.
And did all this, and now it's like they just, I don't know if they only work if somebody's manually activating them or what, but they aren't acting the same as they did during the setup, because I went down and watched them for a little while.
So,
Because I was interested.
I think they only activate when you press the button.
So the crosswalk lights will not activate unless the button is pushed.
That's what I've seen.
Okay,
You mean
because
the
it used to
ca-
be they would cycle with
Right,
the light regardless, so these just don't do
yeah,
that.
you press the button and you.
Might be something, I mean, honestly, for some of these kids, they probably were looking at the green light as much as they were looking at the crosswalk light, so I just, it's my, just wondering why they didn't change the same as they used to, but, okay.
I feel like it's a longer time to get across, when you press the button.
Yeah, I don't know, there's some, it's like, I was thinking about that, it kind of changes. I used to turn onto 10th and you'd be like, oh, it's green, go. Now you're never gonna be able to do that. Always gonna have to stop and wait for the dang thing. I kind of built my life around that green arrow.
Anything else on street?
Street sweeper out yet?
Yes.
Has been.
I've been cooped up, I'm sorry. I can't get out.
I just know the city
I'm just-
picked up my limbs, Brock came to mow my yard, and then I was gonna go sweep the street, and the street sweeper came through.
So I know they were going behind the crews as they were getting
Yeah, I just-
things cleaned up in the right of ways, so.
They had
My wife
to,
brought
they
me up
used,
and we went down Walnut by the park, and I just noticed there was a lot of debris on
they had to
Walnut Street.
take
across there,
the skid steer with the broom on it to get a lot of the leaves out so the street sweeper could go
Sweeper
through.
can't pick it up.
Yeah, it was getting clogged up with a lot of the debris, so they took the skid steer to get, a lot of that big stuff out of the way. But yeah, the street sweeper's been
I
out.
just
Yeah.
curious, I know there's a lot of debris down around town, so, still. The other thing,
Yes.
while we're on this, and I don't know where else better place to bring it up, I noticed last week, before I went in for surgery, there's still a lot of people that have tree trash and stuff in their backyards.
Right.
Is it up to them people to get it to the city dump, or we gonna do with that?
We just did the second run of the northwest and the southwest quadrant of town. We're about to do the rest of town. So, and we're gonna try to do the second run last week, but it was too quick to turn around for these guys. We still worked at it. So official second turn was today, or started today and going into tomorrow, going that way. So we've tried to get people to take it out for us to pick it up.
So Mrs. John Q. Public, that's 94 years old, do we have a number she can call so we can get somebody to help her get her stuff out?
people that came early, and I don't have any other numbers.
Yeah, we
I don't
had,
know.
we had a
We
group.
don't know anybody that.
I'm just
that
curious,
wants
because there's
to
a
do it.
lot out there yet in people's backyards.
The police department did gather a list of people who needed help, and we gave that to a group of volunteers,
Yeah,
that
we
went around. So that was an outlet,
Okay.
for that.
Just
Some of the other
asking.
people had told me that they had people coming to do it, but they just hadn't got here yet. So, I mean, some of that I think are people that are hired, but they
Just haven't got there yet.
They haven't had time to get to all of the places they were
Well,
hired to go.
And I had somebody contact me and they said, and I don't know how many people this affects, but that, you know, like some older people have, you know, maybe family members or somebody coming up to help trim the trees up. They don't have it down yet in the right of way to be picked up. And they asked if we were gonna have another, you know, cleanup day down the road or something for some of these people.
So it's a lot of
I don't know if
hangers
it's a
up,
lot.
too.
There's a ton of
There-
hangers.
I know every time the wind blows, I'm gonna have another half a trailer load for the next 2 or 3 storms probably. So, and there's gonna be some of that. And not everybody has a truck or a trailer or access to clean it up themselves. So,
Stop.
yeah.
I had some phone calls. This is where the phone calls comes.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and I guess we'll see. I mean, if it's, you know, 2 weeks from now, we've got a bunch of piles sitting up in the right of way, then we might have to you know, see what we can do. So, one thing I had on street, and I guess it's bringing up wherever, I've had a lot of compliments, the last couple of weeks for our city crews. With the job that they did, getting the streets cleared off and everything, and not just them, I mean, the help that we got from KDOT and, the volunteers, and, I mean, you drive around and, I mean, you can still tell we had a storm, but, I mean, it's mostly all cleaned up 2 weeks later, so, they did a good job. I know they put in a lot of hours that first week, and, we're thankful for all that they do.
We wouldn't be where we're at without the people that we're helping. I mean, our crews are great, and I don't want to diminish what they've been doing and what they've done. But if KDOT hadn't come in with their equipment, and said,
How many days was KDOT actually here?
let's see, so they showed up a week and a half. They were here a week and a half.
A week and a half.
At least a week and a half. And they said, regardless of whether we qualified for FEMA, which was like maybe a deciding factor in most cases, regardless of whether they're gonna get reimbursed through FEMA or not, they were gonna show up. And they did, and then they made said, we are here until you tell us to go away. And they weren't.
Yeah.
So KDOT did great, and I will keep bringing up Don Bruna. We couldn't have made it anywhere without his help.
You imagine what that traffic jam would have been like?
Oh, gosh.
We were trying to push those trees up.
Yeah.
I will bring his name up every single time.
KDOT
He
did bring a bulldozer in the end.
yeah.
Because Don really had to work.
Don-
He really did have to earn a living.
Don had to
but-
work, but he
But
showed
he
up.
did.
He showed up and made our lives work. I mean, we would not have been able to do anything without his help. That's a centerpiece. All the people that helped cleaned up their own properties and then fanned out and did their neighbors. There was a ton of that. I can't thank them enough. I mean, we would probably still be working halfway through, once through town if people didn't chip in the way they did.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And for someone that I helped people clean up, but I had no way to get it to the dump, I was thankful the city came and took it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else have anything on the street? Water and wastewater? I don't have anything. When are we gonna get an update about the lagoons? Maybe I just haven't heard anything.
They were still,
Brad
there's,
on that.
I mean, we're still in a paperwork phase. We're still in a paperwork phase, with, the, state revolving loan, and making sure we're dotting all our i's with CDBG. You're paying for the loans right now and the grants, so.
I'm just curious.
Going back and forth through with KDHE or any state, I mean, it's not a knock against them, it's just their processes that they go through. So we are still working, it's just, we don't have a product yet.
Do you have anything on water wastewater?
Yeah, I do. I've seen in our deal that our sewer truck may be here next week.
Good.
This week.
This week we hope. Whatever. It was last week when I looked at it. I want to make sure we have a policy in place, if it ever has to go to any place to get worked on again, that it is drained. That was a dang expensive mistake that was made.
Yep.
I'm sorry to say that, but there needs to be a policy in place on it. If it's gonna go out, or set out, drain it. I don't care if we gotta fill it back up.
Okay.
Period.
Okay, anything else on water wastewater? Parks and Rec?
Pool?
With another
Keep
person.
rolling.
Another person I have to thank is Jeff.
Yes.
And Landals, for supplying a crew to remove the concrete and get right down to the leak. Something I didn't realize is that Lexington actually used a camera to find the leak, so they knew exactly where we were going.
That would have been nice.
Yeah,
to know.
yeah, I know. But they found the leak, and uncovered
On that
it.
gray line.
Yeah, it's on the gray
Yeah,
line.
there's a T, and it branches off to like a 3-inch pipe, something
It's
like
a
that. and it
3-inch.
Cracked it right there.
I'll show you.
So is it fixed or is Lexington coming?
We're working on it.
Jeff's crew actually chipped off the 45
Just
where,
popped at one time and that 45 came off.
which by the way is not a good omen.
Which is not what he's supposed to do.
No, it's not, but if it's broke, it's.
I closed my eyes when they did it.
Yeah.
Because the alternative was dig a hole inside the pool room, like where all the pipes are, and cut that 10-inch line out and replace it and put a new T outside of the building.
Yeah, 2 to 3 feet into the building, you have to dig in.
Yeah, and
That's-
about 6 foot
yeah.
deep with all that pea gravel, and I was like, I told Austin, I said, we'll figure something else out, because we ain't doing that.
Yeah. So they got it uncovered, early this morning. I don't know what time you started working on it, but, that's where the leak's at. Let me get a better picture. Let's see if I can. Okay, that's the picture. It's top side. That's how close it is to the wall, about a foot away.
So where was it broke at?
So the
Go that
door.
last picture back. That 45 right there. See it?
Okay, yeah.
So
Right here.
did it snap?
Has it
Like the
set
other
It's
on
all
you?
the way around.
Oh, really?
It's broken all the
It
way
was all
around.
the ways around.
Yeah.
Why is there a 45 on?
Hey, don't ask questions
They-
when you
they
got
liked-
this.
Look at all
They
them
liked
45s.
45s.
Yeah.
They liked a
So
lot of
that T,
45s.
that T is there to drain that line.
Okay,
So
so
you
they
need
put
to
it
have that,
down.
Yeah.
And then the 45 to make it drain,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. So this mess, we gotta get this portion fixed,
We ain't doing that.
And then the white other one.
and then this small 2-inch line right here has a dent. in
And
it.
there's a nick on that one black pipe too. You can't see it from here.
Which one?
The black, that one?
Yeah, there is a black pipe in there.
Yep.
A little nick there
It's a
that you
little
need to
one.
fix, not that one, it's below that
Yeah.
pipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we gotta, so Lexington is, as the more work that we get done, the faster they'll get here. So they took that 45 out, capped it, and
Can you see why we were worried about that,
Yeah.
Mr. Barnes?
Yeah. Well, we got lucky if it popped off. I mean, sometimes you can carefully cut some sections out
We
and
cut a
pop
very
them.
small section and then broke a little
Yeah.
section out and then.
And then he kept throwing pieces out.
Yeah, well, that's
Oh.
usually how it comes apart, so, but that's good.
that's
Hard to
where
believe it
we're
was
at.
leaking there, that far away and running into the bottom down.
You know, when they were digging though, it seems like it might have been broke for a little while because
Oh, really?
A void.
some of that, there's a void down in there.
But he said there's a pretty good void down here. He said,
So
you
if there's a
think they didn't
void there
pack
for a
the rock?
while and then that gravel heaved and came down on it,
And that's
over
probably what
time
broke
it's
it.
gonna, yeah. I would suggest maybe putting some sand around that? when you
No,
put it in?
everything's getting sand around.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, don't put that gravel back.
Everything's getting sand back. We do not like this gravel here.
So Kent ordered a mechanical 45 with the
Okay.
rubber gaskets
Yeah.
to fix that. One, that's the only way you're gonna put it back together, and two, when I talked to who's the Mets kid? Gary? Kansas Rural Water.
Greg.
Greg, that was his suggestion, when I showed him the picture, he said, put a mechanical in there so it can give.
It'd probably give a little, yeah.
Just a little bit if it needs to. Because the alternative, if we can't make it work this way, is not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
It's an understatement.
So what's the best case scenario?
That was the best case
No.
scenario. I think we're in it right now.
Yeah.
I think we're in it right now.
For Lexington,
End of the week?
end of this week?
Yeah, end of this week. It got better as they did more work. So the second they popped that 45 off, it shaved everything. I mean,
A lot of work.
yeah.
Tim Rockwell told me, and thank you to Kevin Miller and
Yeah.
Tim Rockwell, because they're the ones that did most. I was there.
Supervising?
Yes, leaning on the shovel.
But Tim wanted to fix it today. I said, no, let's baby steps and get Lexington here and let them look at it. But I
Because even if you fix that one thing, they still gotta fix the big 12-inch T.
Yeah, Tim said, no, that's bad juju.
Probably right.
That's where we're at. We're hoping to get that fixed once the pipes are put in and ready to go is when we start filling it out.
And then we won't fill the hole until we're ready to
Right.
put
Till we
chemicals in and
Yeah.
let it sit for a couple days and.
So we'll get water in faster than those holes are filled up. So yeah, I mean that's
How long does it take to fill the pool?
a couple days, 2-3 days. Yeah.
Do we know if we have enough lifeguards yet?
I have some, I've lost some. I don't, when we called everybody and asked them if they can work or they can't work, I've got 2 that have not got me their schedules from the very first day I asked way back in May. So,
Run with what we got. What's open's open.
If you only open every other day or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
it's still
It
open.
is what it is. Get it fixed and move on.
Recently became aware that 14-year-olds can take the classes, and then because if they turn 15, then they can just sweep into it. I say this, you may lose a concession worker.
that's all
but
right,
you
we
may
got a
gain
bunch of concessions,
lifeguard.
we got a lot more concessions workers than we
Yeah.
need. We don't need concessions workers. No. So, yeah, and I know, Jeff said that they would conduct a separate class if we could get enough kids.
They'd
So
like
I
to have
can
at least
call them.
4 to do it.
I can call the kids and say, okay, are you ready to swim, are you ready to go?
Yep.
Because we don't have water for them to do it here, they'll have to go to Bianca. Yep. And anybody else who wants to be a lifeguard, this is your chance. We will take you up there. We have always paid for it always, but if there's somebody out there that's thinking about it, and I got an adult that's gonna do it.
And we'll bus you there.
Okay, and we will bus you there. So, yes, please call me, and we will make arrangements for when it works for you to go, so we can get you all there. If there's some other kid on the line who thinks they might want to do it, now's the day. I mean, we will pay. If you can pass, we will pay.
And that brings up another good point that, what'd we decide on our wages? Did you happen to bring that with you?
I thought you were talking about that on the 11th, so I didn't bring anything
Yeah.
cool away.
Well, in Austin, the only reason I say this is for that position as a lifeguard. You know, they're not being paid benefits. And if we have to sweeten that up just a little bit for a part-time person, I think that's the best way to start developing people in the long term. You know, somebody that's 15 and then goes on to 16, 17, then they're a senior. I think we ought to think about that. Not, go too far out of hand, but if I can get a job working at Walmart and I don't have to take care of the pool and the people that come there, I might go to Walmart, So, just a thing to think about.
Okay. All right. Anything else on Parks and Rec?
I do.
Yes.
Okay, so something came up on Facebook, and there's all these comments, and now I'm getting contacted about this. So apparently in 2019, there was Pony Up fundraiser for shades at the ball field.
Well,
So now people,
Foul ball protection.
Well,
shades is what
shade
they're,
over the play area was
Yes.
the way it was structured. That was brought to my attention.
I don't know any of the details on it. That's why I said, well, I'm gonna have to ask because I have no
Tell me
idea.
again, shade over the play area?
Yeah, shade / foul ball
There-
protection over the play area, kind of a double.
we talked about it anyway, yeah.
Okay, I just knew about foul ball protection.
Over the playground
Correct,
area.
yeah.
Oh, playground
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
I see what you're talking.
So yeah, I don't know what was discussed in 2019. I don't know what happened to the money that was raised at Pony Up in 2019
They
for
still
these
have it.
shades.
Still in the
Still in Manhattan.
Because we're
Should
just
be.
now gonna, once we have the foul ball protection up, then I can take all the bills over there and they will pay us for that part. So I don't know how much
So
money
there
is
was
in that
enough
fund.
money
It's-
raised in 2019 to cover the foul ball nets. Yeah,
I don't know if
nobody
it was
knows.
entirely enough.
It won't be enough. 15,000 is
There
what
was
comes to
some raised,
mind.
but, yeah.
And 15,000 won't cover what we just bought, I don't think. I'd have to go back and add it up. But I think they did it 2 years in a row, so I don't know what the second, because the community foundation gets it, we don't
So the
have
money
it.
doesn't come to
Oh,
the
no, no,
city.
no, no. No, it goes to the community
Well,
foundation.
I don't know. This is
And
why
so
I'm
I don't know
asking.
how much is in that part of that fund.
People send me an email and I don't know how to answer them.
Sure, right.
I do
So I don't have
remember,
any idea how
like
much
with the
money's
foul
in
ball
there.
protection, I think we talked about going with shade structure as well, but I think when we looked into it, the wind was gonna we were concerned about the wind catching it and just shredding them.
You almost
if I
have to
remember
go
right.
metal.
Was the concern on that part, but I do remember us talking too about the play area. I mean, but that's been,
I can try to
3,
get a
4
hold of
years
the
ago.
community foundation and ask them how much money's in there. I have no idea.
That'd be a good start, yeah.
I can do that and see how much money's in there.
okay,
I do have something too.
yes.
I got sent a couple of pictures of the black squirrel, the wooden playground at City Park.
Okay.
There's a hole in one of the, I don't know for sure where it's at, I can show you the picture, and then one of the cross beams up top is broken. Do you know?
In the store.
I don't know, I just know somebody took their grandkids down there, found it, and sent me pictures of it.
That wooden playground was, if it's part of this storm, he took pictures of that, that's part of this storm, and we've not gotten any of the results from that. So my assumption is if you're just getting that,
Right.
because they said something broke with the swing.
Is it something
hangs
that's
on or something.
unsafe or something? I guess I haven't seen a picture of it.
There's a hole in the floor.
Okay.
I know there was a lot of trees in
Yeah, there are a lot of trees in the park.
There was a lot of trees in there.
there. Yes, it was
Yep.
totally in.
Okay. I'll have to find it and show it to you. I have too many emails. Or text messages.
I'd say, I mean, if
I'd say
insurance
that's
is,
just something to share with the city crew and.
yeah, I'd say if insurance has been there and taken pictures, then we need to
Yeah,
get
they
it
did.
fixed.
But we haven't got any of the results back yet, so, we haven't got the report back.
Okay.
Right. Anything else on, Parks and Rec?
Sure.
Yes.
Since everybody else is taking a turn. Tennis courts behind schedule, people are asking me.
I don't know.
we
I mean,
know?
They're not
I
on
know,
ours.
I know, but I didn't know if we have any information since they're on our property, if we are aware of anything.
Inline I think they've hit a point where the tennis court people come in.
Yeah, that's why I wondered.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Inline got through what they needed to.
I noticed the sidewalk's also pretty cracked up where the equipment's been going in and out. I assume that'll be just something that comes with replacing it once it's
We
in.
knew, yeah, yeah. I think they've been trying to be as careful as possible.
Oh, I'm sure they are, but it's just heavy equipment.
Yeah.
And it's an old sidewalk, so it's not rated for heavy equipment.
So, right. Anything else on Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport?
Are we gonna fix the beacons on the corners of the helipad? I noticed they're still broke off. I don't know if that's a storm issue as well, something that got checked out while that was all going on.
Ooh, I don't know if they went to the airport or not.
Okay. I didn't see anything else. Yeah, I didn't see any of the runway beacons broken, but two of them on the east side, so the northeast and southeast beacons at the helipad are hit. And I don't think the wind took them. I think some of the tin and things that blew off, the rented lot might have clipped them, like they clipped a lot of things up there.
Okay, I'll have the guys look at it.
Yeah, I don't think, it may have just sheared off the bolts or something easy to fix, but.
Did you lose the kiosk at the cemetery in the storm?
I didn't hear anybody
thought it-
say that, a lot of trees.
I thought it got
Yeah, I feel like
damaged or
Tom sent a
something,
picture of the directory that was
That's what I
trashed in the
thought.
cemetery.
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
what
that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Yep, I saw that.
It wasn't much to start with.
All right, anything else on Cemetery and Airport?
Do you know when the airport board usually meets?
Only when they need to.
Yeah, not very often.
Not on schedule.
Every once in a while. Police and Fire? Admin and Finance? There are no appointments. John, you had a few things for us, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a couple things. The first one is, we are moving forward with the demolition of the 205 North 10th Street. And part of the process is to attempt to recoup the city's costs. And Plan A is to have the Board of County Commissioners appoint the city to conduct a tax sale for one property. The property in question is 5 years back, and so this agreement, memorandum of understanding, has been submitted to the county representatives, and I made their changes, and now it's back here. They're not going to take any action until this council approves it. And what this does allows, once that assessment is booked and ready to go and sent to the county, we'll do a tax foreclosure sale, if the county allows the city to do so. Now, next year is rolling around December 20th. There's another tax, and I would anticipate there'll be 6 years if this is not approved. As a matter of right, the city can then do it on its own initiative, do a tax sale. Plan B, though, is to, with special assessments, the city does have authority to either collect it through property taxes or sue as a civil lawsuit. And I've done exploring here on this, and what I would do is sue the property owners, name the property, and then foreclose on the real estate in one proceeding. So there may be a delay if that happens, but at least the city's rights are protected. And even if the county allows us to go forward with a tax sale, I may do both, just give the city top priority. We do have an agreement that's been signed with a person or company willing to bid $50,000. That's secure, that's ready to go. And so estimate-wise, it's a pretty good offer. Pretty much cover a lot of the cost. So I'm asking the council to approve the memorandum of understanding, and we'll submit it to the county for their consideration. But we do have a Plan B, and just in case if it follows through. But I can't see why this would be something they would turn down. It removes one property, removes a blight on the community. You would think that the county commissioners would see policy benefits from that, especially if it's refurbished or rebuilt, goes back in the tax rolls, they're gonna benefit as well. Now, the city has to pick up all the costs of the tax sale. There'll be a publication cost, a title search cost, and then that'll be part of the special assessment. So all is not lost.
Move to approve memorandum of understanding between the City of Marysville and Marshall County Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
The next is a resolution. We did get, I worked with the school board, used the State Board Association attorney. I worked with Mr. Cunningham, and I drafted up agreement. He had tweaks. We got it in final form where the council actually approved it. It was submitted to the school board. They approved it. Then we turned it over to the Attorney General for a blessing, since it's an interlocal agreement. And then the Attorney General issued a letter saying it's good, except they wanted one sentence added. And that one sentence, pretty non-consequential. I mean, it's kind of in the obligations laid out, duties and obligations laid out in the agreement, but it's number 6. The addition from what the council originally saw was this one sentence: the city manager and superintendent shall jointly administer the interlocal agreement on behalf of their respective governing bodies. The actual duties are laid out within the text, but they wanted a specific statement saying it's going to be administered by someone.
Okay.
So, part of the statutory requirements, the AG points out, is that a resolution has to be approved by both governing bodies and then filed with the Register of Deeds, not recorded but filed. I also made this retroactive from the first date. Attorney General didn't say we could do that or not do it, but since it was open, we did it. So it goes all the way back to the beginning. There's no question that this project will be covered.
Okay.
And the school board has this, and I think they should just change it around, add school board, and do the same thing.
Okay. So,
I'm asking for approval of this resolution to be filed, and
You got a resolution number?
2022-07.
Move to approve resolution 2022-07, interlocal agreement, City of Marysville and USD 364.
Second.
okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Is that all you had, John?
yes.
Do you want to discuss while we are on attorney, what happened with purchasing at the last council meeting?
Oh. Yes. Because we do have this here. And I know there was some discussion at the last council meeting, with one of the contracts that was awarded, that was not to the low bidder. And I think John kind of was made aware of it, weren't you? And
I talked to Austin about it, and I asked for a copy of the policy on bidding policy.
Because we actually violated our policy at the last meeting, number A-88, concerning awarding projects to the lowest bidder.
I have a question about that. It says the city reserves the right to, at the city's discretion, bypass formal procurement process herein set forth below. Does that not include the 5% rule? That's part of the procurement process set forth below. So, I mean, does that fall under that rubric, or is that not, is that purely in the purchasing policies where it gets down into the small purchases and beyond section? Because I did read this and wondered about that as well, but I saw that we can bypass it at our discretion. So that was my reading, non-legal reading, obviously.
in the bidding process, I think the 5% applies across the board.
To local, to Marysville.
Right.
So we can't bypass
Marysville
it.
businesses.
You know, in this situation, it's like you impose a policy, some type of equity position, and this is my understanding, I couldn't watch it on video.
No worries, sorry.
But it's kind of inserting an equity position outside of this local advantage or bid advantage for a local vendor. And so, perhaps if the policy was said, well, we're so close, we're gonna give this company because they're hiring racial minorities, and we want to support the racial minorities. Well, I think you could make an argument, that's fine, but here, the equity is, I mean, to me, I couldn't figure out an equity position to really put into, and there's a lot of danger when you do that, because this type of work is very competitive, and you gotta rely on these contractors to provide this work, and if somebody's able to get on a roll and start bidding, they think they can do it, you certainly don't wanna discourage the bidding process, because they may not bid next time. And then, there was no matching of the low bid in any event, so the question for the taxpayers, hey, why at least try to negotiate down to a matching level? But the policy itself, to me, it was violated. And so is the contract void ab initio? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I couldn't find any good cases on it. It's something perhaps that could be worked out with both these companies do a lot of work for the city. And there may be a way to negotiate this out and get it resolved without any type of formal legal process. But if the argument is void from the get-go, then the agreement, which has been the approval, the accepted bid, has already been submitted to the contractor. So, argument, are they damaged? That's a thing that needs to be discussed. If they've purchased equipment or done some things to get ready for the contract, there's some problems. But if I understand the process is they submit a bid, we accept, and that's it. It's a done deal. So it's trying to put the genie back in the bottle is really difficult without some type of work with the contractor and try to determine how this can be resolved. And it certainly can be explained to them it's void because it violated our bid process.
I have a question, John. It says City of Marysville, or Marysville City businesses. If it's a business that's not inside city limits, is it a Marysville City business? Is an address make a business, or does it have to lie within the city limits of Marysville to be considered a Marysville City business?
I would look at its principal headquarters.
Okay, so if the principal headquarters is outside city limits, then it's not a Marysville City business, correct?
That would be my feeling.
Okay.
There's
Well,
unless there's no case law or any other interpretation.
When you say principal, you mean the principal of the company?
Right.
Yeah.
If you go to the Secretary of State's office and you look up where's their principal place of business, that'll tell you.
So their principal place of business of none of those companies, to my knowledge, lies within the city limits of Marysville. None of the bidders do. Inline construction lies outside in the county by the city limits that are on the internet. So, I mean, I'm not looking for an end run here.
Yeah, but we're not.
But there's an end
We're
run.
not talking about the
Oh, you actually
5%.
didn't want to give them to them because you thought they had too much work?
No, I didn't want to do it because they had too many eggs in the basket. I don't want other.
That's not your decision.
Kevin, it is my decision. I get elected. It's your decision too. Here's how this works.
It's not your decision to make a deal. That would be like you deciding if
No.
you're gonna allow a
Okay.
business in town.
You know what? I can think what I want, and y'all can think what you
Well,
want. I
you're
can make my
right.
decisions
Okay.
based on that and other things, and I'd appreciate not being interrupted, Parker. One moment.
Well, then that's fine. I can just make this. I
let's
can make a
let's
motion
let-
to reconsider this.
Let's discuss, well, I mean.
Here's how
make a
this
motion.
works.
We are discussing.
I'll just, let me interrupt, I guess, for a second. I mean, I had one of the business owners contacted me, one of the owners, and I completely get where they were coming from. They felt that council was speaking for their workload, which we don't really know that much about other than the jobs that they've done with us. They felt that they were the low bidder and they had a job pulled away from them. They also felt that the one that got pulled away was one of the easier jobs, and if they're gonna decide their workload is too much, then maybe they should decide which one they don't wanna do, and that would not have
Okay,
been
so
one
that
they
was
would've
one
said.
man's opinion, that was my opinion. If they have a problem with that, they can contact me. That's that. The rest of the council, as I explained at that meeting, I believe had other factors at play as well. One of them is, I like to spread business around. I don't want AHRS or anyone else to assume that local guy's always gonna get it, not even bother with them anymore.
And I will say, I mean, as a business owner, and I have people that do this with me, that maybe they've got rentals and they call me for some things, they call another plumber and
Right.
they spread it around. And that is a good idea, because then if something happens and one of us is out of town, you can call the other one. We don't get to operate the same as a business would. Some of the things that make sense as a business don't work the same with government.
No, you're right. I'm just saying,
just
explaining
saying
my
and-
personal logic in this situation was that I think either one were qualified, but I thought for a complicated set of reasons, it didn't make sense to just automatically award everything to our local bidder in this situation. And I think it was, yes, I understand what the policy is here, but it was a nominal difference on that specific project. Whether it was easy or not, whether they assumed or not, it is not for a contractor to assume they're gonna get any business. That's why it's a bid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our bid process is a farce.
Okay, then I'll ask this question. Why'd you award it to the company that doesn't have their work done?
Because I think they do good work, and I'm not worried. In the project, that specific project, I'm less worried about timeliness than others.
And I think that was a problem with the
That
one,
you reward somebody for not having their work done.
I think that was a problem with the one
Well,
company.
well, here's the deal. Didn't we go rounds with Inline on getting the, didn't they try to wriggle out of doing their project up here with the streets, and we had to go to war with them on that? I don't hold that against them.
Streets
What's the development?
in their development,
Right.
done, ain't it?
That's completely
Yeah,
different.
but,
And
well, how
and
fun was that?
That
So,
was on
I mean,
a
my
separate,
point
that
is,
wasn't something we bid with them.
I'm
and
not
look,
punishing anyone here.
Bid.
Holding the fire on that, and hopefully they don't hold that against me, because it was I'm advocating for the city. But I think that they felt, on all the jobs that we've had them do, there hasn't been an issue. And like here with the storm water drainage, I mean, that turned it into a mess. And they finished that project, they could have said, hey, we didn't plan on doing all this, we got other jobs lined up, we need to pull out of here. They stayed and they fixed things that they hit that
Yeah.
didn't necessarily have to fix.
Again, this is not a
They went above and
critique.
beyond and got it back together. And
I know, here's the deal.
I think they felt they were being punished, though, when they were the low bid, and they have been doing good
Here's
work
the
for the
thing,
city.
if I need plumbing work done and I can see my plumbers running around town doing a lot of business, am I gonna go, you know, maybe this would be overloading him? I understand, that's my logic, okay, as an individual making that decision. I'm gonna go, you know, maybe I should consider having this, another plumber in on this specific instance.
Yeah.
Plus, that's another person who knows my system. Plus, that's another person who may give me benefit of the doubt on some project in the future. I don't like this autopilot thing. I understand their complaint, okay? And I'm not saying we can't revisit it.
Well-
That's fine. All I'm saying is, if any bidder from any project comes in and puts it forward to the city and just is offended that they didn't get it because they assumed they were gonna get it, because they're the local bidder, I don't think that's enough.
They didn't assume that they were low bid. I mean, if they wouldn't have been a low bid, they would have been fine. I mean, but they were the low bid, and that's who
But that's the
generally gets
easiest
the
one. Well,
bid.
I mean, come on.
It shouldn't matter. I mean, they were low bid on all of them, and they were all low bid, and I guess if they want to come the next day and say, hey, we got too many things on our plate, we don't want to do this one or that one, then, because we got a situation now where, I mean, this person was pretty upset. I mean, upset enough that they could probably, if they wanted to, just walk away from all the bids and say,
And this person's probably too good of a good person to do that. I agree with you on that.
yeah,
Well, we sure hope so.
We-
'Cause how
we
much
hope
is it gonna
so.
cost you if they do walk away?
yeah.
Well, you know,
A lot.
it's gonna cost a lot of respect for them too.
I can't blame them.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Oh, Parker, you blame people for less.
Well, I
No, I
mean,
don't. They
the thing is that this person felt that they needed to stand up for themselves to make sure it didn't happen again. And I can't hold that against them for,
Here's the way I saw it. Right now, we should be in a position of saving money where we can. You know, we wanna go with low bid, then we should go with low bid and save that money. The economy's not gonna get better right now. You know, we ought to save.
Like I said, I'm just defending the motion I made. Council
that's
voted
fine.
for it. If the council wants to reconsider it, then the council can do that.
Well, I guess first I mean, is there
Motion to
repercussions?
reconsider the bids on Spring Street 17th to Keystone.
All right. I have a second.
Can't second on motion.
Second.
Okay. I mean, technically, when you and I'm just saying how this is supposed to work, I think, when you revisit something, one person that voted in the majority, correct, has to, technically,
Go get my book.
I think technically, somebody that voted in the majority is supposed to bring it up, I believe.
I wasn't here, I didn't
You
vote
weren't
either
there,
way.
so technically, yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll move that we reconsider it.
No, I've already got it.
No, can you though?
I don't
I
know that
don't
he
think
can.
because he wasn't here, so.
I gave the book before we
I don't,
did it.
okay.
Get the book.
I'm trying to get it up on there.
I know if somebody that voted in when it was decided can bring it back up, and,
When it was decided?
yeah, I mean, and he was, because he was the one when it wasn't here,
Right, he wasn't here.
and there were 4 yeses, so.
Yeah, I don't think it's in that handbook, but
We
you can
all
look.
voted
No,
no.
It's a little thin on information.
There?
Because I wanted to save money.
Yeah,
But I also brought up, my point that they, you know, they could be getting overworked. But, you know, that was a key point in my discussion at the time.
Right?
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that until you brought it up. Thanks, Gabe.
You bet.
Well, that's just not ours to discuss. We're not in their business.
but I guess,
But it is though. We discussed that
I'm
when we.
just
Okay,
covering bases.
when we buy a police truck, do we discuss how long it might take to get that Chevy? Yes, we do. We do, because it took us a year to get one.
Took a low bid.
Yeah, but I'm saying is we do discuss timelines of
Low
completion.
bid, the only other thing was, the other low bid, they said they cannot get it at all.
That's how they
But
changed.
I think maybe the instance I'm thinking of was before either you guys were on
That
council.
may be.
Yeah.
We did have an issue with that. So next time it did poison us a little, because it took forever to get that truck. It sat in Texas for
yes,
6 months.
quite a while.
Call the previous question.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's about calling the preview.
Yeah.
I think that's not apropos here, is it?
I think it might be.
You can try it, throw it at the wall.
How about the motion to adjourn to a later? John, would that be motion to call the previous question? If you've already had a question and you've voted on it.
I
That's
think
when
that may
it's
be in
still
the
on the
same
floor.
meeting, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was for one that the
that was
conversation
later.
just goes and goes and goes.
Okay.
I think so.
Jeff, may I see your little book?
There's not much in here after.
Pretty
Isn't
thin.
that the one we're using,
Yeah.
the procedure?
Little one?
Oh, you got the little one too?
No,
No, she got a big one. I got the big one from the
Well, at least it's
league.
got
From
bigger
the
writing
league.
maybe.
Yeah.
Is there a legal reason, John, why we can't
Well,
award that
if
contract?
the guy who was the majority raises the motion now, it's a moot point.
Okay.
So it's resolved itself by,
I'm sure that's how it was originally written, though. Whoever made the affirmation on the
Because they're
motion.
the ones wanting to change.
Yeah, they
their
had to,
mind.
they had to come back and
That's
make
my
the motion
understanding.
And I'm not
to approve it.
disagreeing, it's the absentee person being gone from the original discussion.
Have a
is-
gray area.
Is just that.
Yeah.
Well, and when I came down to, and talked to Austin, was that Monday or last week? Wednesday. I was reading state statute, which evidently we've adopted our purchasing policy. But state statute is pretty clear that we have to have a written reason why we do not want to, why we want to accept a higher bid is what I could tell.
remember, for second-class cities as well as third-class cities, there's no bid requirements.
But we made one in policy.
Right. So having a factual basis or rationale put forth in minutes would be helpful why you deviated.
Yeah, and that was this policy, we amended this back in 2020, and I think it had to do with the CDBG, if I remember. We had to change some things to, some wording to make them happy. I don't know where
I
you
don't
find it,
think
but
it's
it
in
runs,
this
it
one.
runs in my mind that that's the
I
way
think
that
it's in the
it
other
does
book.
say that it has to be
I
some
think
basic
it's in
change.
one.
Or bring it up again, basically.
So can we table the motion until we come up with a clear decision on how we want to move forward
Well,
in 2 weeks?
I mean, I would
Says
think,
stick
say,
to the
I mean, as long
rules.
as somebody
You
voted in
don't
the
waive
positive brings it
formality.
up, then I'm sure it's correct. What I'm hazy on is whether somebody that wasn't at the meeting and didn't get a vote one way or another.
I didn't get to hear the
Technically,
meeting.
no.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't get to hear any
exactly.
discussion. All I'm going off of is the notes. Yeah, technology is so great.
And it works.
That's right, but there's motion on the floor.
And I can,
There is a motion on the floor, yes.
if that's the way you want to do it, the majority, I'll recall the motion.
Okay.
How do you want it done? Remove my motion from the floor?
I'd say remove your motion and the second, and then,
I'll remove my motion from the floor. And
okay.
does the one that did the second have to remove their second?
I would say so, technically, probably. Okay,
So I'll make the motion that we reconsider.
okay,
And I'll second that motion.
all right, okay. Now, is there any other further well, you're just, so you're not making a motion, though, you're just
I'm bringing it back
bringing
to
it
the
back
floor.
up, okay,
So anybody can
so
make a
now,
motion.
somebody needs to make a motion about what they want to do.
You gotta vote on theirs first.
Vote on that
True.
motion.
You gotta vote on
Okay.
his first.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now,
Now you
somebody can make a motion.
Might be caught up. You ready? Cindy?
Excuse me, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm still.
All right, I make a motion to accept the bid from Inline Construction for $90,767 on Spring Street 17th to Keystone Gravel.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
I would say I don't like the way any of this went down, and I look at this as more of a function of correcting, since given our current policy, than
Yes.
it is anyone ever getting bullied into a position, but doing the right thing by our policy is still doing the right thing by our policy.
Yes. Okay.
And with that being said, I don't always like the low bidders, but the low bid is the low bid. And I don't always like them.
We've had times we've
Yeah.
taken low bid and it hasn't turned out well, but this is an established
I
business
can-
that we not have.
I can think of one right now that still frustrated with the low bid.
Yes.
Because it took way too long to get done. So,
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Veto. All right.
I will do some more research, I'm sorry.
I know it's in there somewhere, I remember reading.
It is.
We're gonna have to send you
Okay,
some
it's
classes about this.
and I think the research that we
I
need,
have been, I know it's,
Cindy, is the absentee person. Is what I,
Are they a default no, or are they default?
I don't think so. Remember.
I don't know what they are.
I know it's.
Because they're not in the
Motion,
dis-
though.
Right, but because the absentee person not being involved in the discussion and voting either way,
Right.
I don't know what they bring to the table when they come back. That's what I don't.
I will ask that question at the next.
I know it's in there,
though.
and,
You can
and
bet
the,
your
and the
money
only,
I
and the
will.
only reasoning, and the only reasoning I think is just so that somebody, like a council member, can't just keep bringing up the same issue, meeting after meeting after meeting.
Oh, and
Just
they do
hoping
talk
that, you
about
know,
that.
somebody's gone or whatever, and they can finally get it through.
Until
That's why
they
it's
can
that way.
finally get enough yeses because enough people are
It
gone.
just,
Right.
or they
Yes.
just, people would wear people down.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's true.
So,
Mr. Mayor, as a matter of process, the city administrator should immediately reach out and rescind and, voice it, and say it was a void as a matter of city policy. Get the reaction.
I would hope that they would understand. I mean, if the rules were reversed and they were low bid, I'm sure that they would probably not have been
And they haven't started work or anything like that, have they?
No,
So I
they're,
think-
they're working on the guttering, I think, this week.
It looks nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
South 15.
South 15.
Do you have anything else, John?
No.
Okay. I don't think we have a need to go in executive session or anything, do we, that I know of? Okay, round table. Todd?
If there's should have brought this up earlier with streets, but if there's trees down in alleyways, are those our responsibility since that's a right of way, or is that adjoining property owners? I'm getting nods and no's.
We
We
will
don't-
move them, we will move them out of the alleyway that they're blocking, but more than likely, they get pushed up onto the adjoining property. We are not removing anything from the alley.
Well, it might be a little hard. The alley I'm thinking of is between 10th and 9th and 10th. And it's kind of in a canyon, so I'm not sure you could push it up to the neighboring properties.
Work at it.
But it's really down through there.
By the building?
Yeah, behind there.
By where?
Any chance
Behind-
the person that demos it may just run down there with?
Well, it's behind the Firestone building. I'm not sure if
Oh, okay.
that's where the majority of it is.
I got you.
And people walk through there. I've seen people bushwhacking kind of through there, but half of them I think are walking over on the Firestone building to get by and stuff. So I didn't know since it's an alley where that
We
kind of
don't-
fell.
yeah, It goes to the property owners, that's
That's
what we
what I
do with
wondered.
everything, just like the easement, you know, if it's in the middle of the road, we'll pick it up, but otherwise,
Yeah.
like during the storm, we just pick it up.
Yeah.
in
The big one?
yards.
It's
I have had
pretty
people ask me.
bushy. I don't think they're big limbs, but it's just, you can't see through it.
Or maybe they'll remove the Firestone.
What I was thinking about is maybe why the guys up there demolishing the building, they
Could grab it.
throw it on, throw them a few $100 to track down there and grab them, clean it up and just be done.
Then
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't want them walking on the building either, and there's lots of people that do use that alley.
Be surprised.
Yeah,
Really?
it is shocking.
It's a foot
I'm
traffic
probably
alley.
through there, yeah.
Oh, it's enough they got her down to bare dirt and then pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of people walk down to the movie
I mean,
theater that
Not
way.
too bad. It's not too
I
bad
may
to
have
walk
taken
down
it a
there.
time, which is the shortest way to my house from here, but I'm always a little afraid somebody's gonna come out of the shadows.
But I'm with Todd, maybe we'll see if we can't clean that up a little bit. I don't even know who that property owner would be in.
That's, the bank.
The bank owns
The
the
bank
south
owns
side.
It's
I don't know who owns
behind
the north
Firestone.
side.
Who owns the north side?
Up on top, there's that little garage there with the KU
Oh,
sign
that's
on
Bob
it.
Thompson.
Probably Bob,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Bob
right. That
Thompson
is who
owns
owns
the
it.
Does he
top.
go all the way to the alley?
Well, he would go to the
To the
fire,
alley.
yeah, to the
Yeah.
alley,
He owns
because
the
it'd be the
wall.
Firestone.
Well, I asked
Would
that
own the
because then
south.
who owns the parking lot right there?
We do.
Yeah,
City-
the
City
parking
of
lot is
Marysville.
ours, where
Yeah.
that's
Ott's
our,
Park, yeah.
that was the original farmer's market.
Right.
Well, Otts are always there, but no, that is a city, so we can do whatever we want with that.
Well, I
We
didn't
own
know
that
if it
park.
went back that way so far.
Yeah.
And the steps, we always have to clean.
So, while we're on that block, have we gotten anywhere further on an agreement with the property owner on that corner for Upper Ninth? Weren't we working on that
Yep.
so that we can get our street equipment through?
In the middle of it's one of the projects that CES is working on.
Okay.
The survey portion of it, that, they got like 5 different projects with us right now, and they gave me a list, a lot of it was supposed to be worked on at the end of June, and we're there, so.
Out of the Knights of Columbus whole now or something.
Yeah,
Is that where they're working?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Knights of Columbus.
I wondered.
I think,
Ask him where they're at on their schedule.
and the other thing was, we have a lot of stumps on city property. I assume we're just gonna talk about some,
We have a stump right now.
okay, so we're just gonna tackle those
As
as time permits.
I will tell you, Kim Baumberger said that she's the lady from the forestry, and she said some cities will reach out to companies and say, this city has had a lot of problems, you wanna give a bid, and whoever wants to be included in that bid can and buy, sometimes you'll get a better bid if, that you tell them they'll have 500 stumps to do. I mean, sometimes they do that, which we could consider, but,
Well,
our own we would do, but I just meant for the,
that reminds me, while we're talking about stumps and trees that came over, I know we've talked before about, years ago, banks used to give trees away and things like that. And I know we've talked previously, before we lost all these trees, about finding out if there's something we could do as far as giving people trees to plant.
I think that would be a wonderful idea.
Well, I'm looking around
I
my
have,
part
like,
of town and
0
man, it's looking
trees
pretty
left in my
barren in
front yard.
spots.
They're all gone.
Helps rebuild that
yes.
tree canopy a little bit.
Yeah.
I did talk to Kim about that, because she's the person that, I said, recommend to us. And I said, I would like to do a whole page in the paper saying these are the trees that they recommend you plant that won't break as easy, that are the better for our community, whatever. And I was hoping maybe the tree board would get on board with us, but she would have educational suggestions of what kinds of trees to plant in our city.
Not hackberries?
She didn't mention.
And I like hackberries, and I've got a lot of them, but yeah, they did not do well in this storm.
Chinese elms.
Chinese elms, I've had some of them too, and yeah, they
And the
What-
project in our area of town, the old trees are really old.
Yeah. There's like a lot of
Yeah.
catalpa trees and stuff, because they had programs back in the 20s. That's why there's so many catalpas in
right?
certain areas.
Really?
The ones they cut down up here by the water tower, that was, you could tell they just, the whole streets were all lined with catalpas.
And I tell you what, those things were a mess when
Oh, yeah. We used to pretend they were cigars when I was a kid, but that's a whole other thing.
We wore the flowers on our fingers.
Oh, because they fit. Yeah. Fun.
I will tell you, my brother-in-law loves it for carving. He carves beautiful things. And Catawba is his favorite wood.
Interesting. No, I think that would be good. I don't know if we can do that with some organization, the tree board or a Girl Scouts. I don't really care who does it, but it'd be nice if we
Yeah.
could help foster that.
Yeah, we definitely need some trees planted back around town in areas, so.
And speaking of trees,
Yes.
keep talking about trees.
Yeah.
There was a pretty decent little street tree that went down in the Kester block right in front of the,
We turned that into insurance.
okay. I hauled that tree to the dump, so, it was in the street and I thought, I was helping out, I'm just gonna get it out of the street. So in case anybody wondered, but, on some of those, I don't know if do we contract with our current tree people to go in and kind of replace some of those, or how do we do that?
I would, start with the original contractor who put the other trees in. He didn't, that one was an older one.
No, it definitely, there wasn't much roots, they were pretty rotten, it had lived its life there.
Yeah, because, let's see, there's that one. I was afraid of the one down, by the wagon wheel, but it looks like it's coming back up.
Yeah.
They said, Parks guy said nothing was broken, it just, the wind wore. And it's coming right back up, but, we would talk with, them, and then, because we got a bunch of other trees we're gonna, insurance gonna pay us to replace, so.
Good.
Yeah.
And one more thing.
Yeah.
I know there's some new property owners down where we took these buildings down between Broadway and Center in the 600 block of Broadway. I definitely do think we should get ahead of the game and working with the new property owner as far as kind of what we're looking at options for the area, just so that they are informed, since I think they have intentions of doing some good things, and yeah, we can work together with them on that.
That would be good. Yeah.
Instead of
A heads up to what was gonna happen would be nice.
Would be super. Yeah. That's it.
Jeff? Nope. Lori? Nope. Keith? No. Kyle?
No, you're good.
Parker?
The only thing I'm gonna bring up is, have we looked at, down at the tennis courts, as Todd brought up about the sidewalk earlier, we looked at any estimation what it costs to do that parking lot and that sidewalk?
I don't think we have
No,
yet.
we
I know
have
the parking
talked
lot
about
has
needing to.
spots that have been rough and, yeah.
Reason I'm asking is, we're gonna have a nice product when you're done. Might as well fix that while we're there, just to
Yes.
bring it all together. And are we gonna try and do one alley this year, like we have the past couple of years?
If we have time, yeah, if we have time.
No
This
rush.
tree thing kinda got in our way.
Yeah.
Well, that one behind the Arts Center is looking really rough, and it's kinda in the business district, and the one there behind the PD church and all that is the same way.
That's one, yeah, that,
I was just looking,
Discussed
both of them be
before.
very good candidates. The one at the Arts Center, the only thing I'm gonna say about that, if we consider that one, is maybe there at the Arts Center where they're parking on the gravel, we just make that a
Take it out.
concrete driveway and be done with it.
Okay.
Give more parking down there.
Clean it up, make it easier to maintain, stuff like that.
And the ones we can't tackle, there's some holes, like behind the PD's got a really deep hole.
That, and I knew we were trying to keep them within a couple blocks of downtown and try and redo them, and I know it's if we got time, that just,
Yeah.
back of the head type thinking.
Yep, no, gotcha.
If I can jump onto his parking comment, have we considered putting in any more parking on the north side or anywhere through there to try to get north side of Walnut? We have city lots through there. We're always tight for parking down there. Instead of doing parallel parking on the north side and straight in parking on the south, we could look at putting angle parking or straight in parking on the north side of the street along where the superintendent's office is, and there's a couple lots. There's not a lot there. There's an old driveway behind the superintendent's office that goes to where there was a house at one time. I'm just thinking outside the box ideas to improve the parking situation in that area if we're gonna talk about parking around there. Especially if the tennis courts are very successful, they'll need more parking. I mean, theoretically.
The police kinda had an idea, but maybe
Oh, really?
for that area, but it wasn't parking.
It's not a shooting range.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Anything else, Parker?
No, that's it.
Colleen? Kevin?
Yeah, I have a question. Years ago,
Yes.
when Dave Richardson was here as our city man, we used to test the storm sirens on Wednesday. Every Wednesday during the summer, they were tested.
Oh, we don't test them, that's the county.
We need to get back on this series, because I was really wondering the other night when the sirens went off if all of them were working.
They just need to make
Do we
a
have-
just
We
Every so
just had
often,
them
somebody
serviced.
comes around and services.
I'm telling you, I had calls from people that said they didn't think the siren was working within a block from their house.
Okay. No, and I think it's a good idea to test them.
I don't-
I don't care, I think they need to be tested.
About noon sirens every day.
I don't care when, I don't care if it's once a week or once a month, but I think we need to get them up and get them tested.
You're right.
Tested the first Wednesday of every month.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's right.
Right, no, I don't have a problem with it, it's just the county's been the one in charge of it.
If
Yeah.
they don't wanna do it, let's find somebody that will. I didn't think they went off long enough when we had storms the other night either, but that's my opinion on that
Well,
too.
but that might be a timing setting too.
Yeah, I don't know what their rules are as far as X long, out of X long, or
Yeah, it's,
I'm sure there's a book for that, but.
That's all I heard in the whole night.
I
well,
wasn't here, I was in Kansas City.
so you gotta remember is sometimes when you have big lightning, some things interfere and they might shut off and have to be restarted. So that's not,
Well, they're on battery backup, so they should have
They
fired.
How many sirens do we have? 6? 7?
a lot.
I'm
One
not
out of my
sure, to
place
tell you the
went
truth.
More than what you actually think.
Probably a lot, yeah. I know we're
I
at least
know
5 or 6.
five for sure, I think you are right, six, I think
That's
it
what I
is.
was thinking, yeah.
I just remember them because when they used to test them, it always come across that this is a test because you can actually talk through them.
And you'd hear Jim Mueller's voice.
Yep.
I just remember the city guys used to go around because when I worked GP and I had different shifts, they'd go around to H1 and make sure they were working around lunchtime is what they did.
Okay, well, they haven't done that since I've been here, so.
And,
They
yeah,
used to, like I'm telling you.
it's just, I'm with Kevin. I think we need to get a test, make sure they're still working.
We did just have them serviced, the guy was just here, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have, sir.
Okay. I do not have anything.
I
We
love
wanna make
being
a-
here, I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?